Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Let's jump right into it. Today, we're exploring one of the most foundational and honestly transformative texts out there on the actual mechanics of the human mind. Joseph Murphy's The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Now, just a heads up, this isn't just another pep talk about positive thinking. Not at all. It's an incredibly structured, almost mechanical look at how the machinery of your brain literally dictates your reality. We're going to break down the science and the art of programming your own destiny. Murphy hooks us right out of the gate with some pretty intense, provocative questions. Like, why is one man joyous and prosperous while another is just poor and miserable? Why does one person completely thrive while someone else, in the exact same circumstances, struggles endlessly? We see this huge disparity in the human experience literally every single day, right? So it really makes you wonder, what's the unseen variable here? And then he follows that up with an even heavier question. Why is one man healed of a so-called incurable disease while another isn't? I mean, what is the hidden force driving success, vitality, and health in some folks, while others seem to experience only limitation and failure? Well, Murphy insists that the answer doesn't have anything to do with fate or luck or even genetics. Instead, it comes down to a very specific mechanism inside your own head. Which brings us to the core premise of our explainer today. Murphy calls this the master secret of the ages. Actually, scratch that, it's not atomic energy, it's not interplanetary travel. It is the marvelous miracle-working power found in your own subconscious mind. The ultimate solution to all these universal human problems, it's already sitting right inside you, just waiting to be directed. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start off with the dual mind, and then move right into the power of suggestion. After that, we'll examine the mechanics of healing and finally wrap things up with some incredibly practical subconscious techniques you can start using today. All right, let's get into section 1, the dual mind. Now, what's really fascinating about this concept is that Murphy clarifies something absolutely crucial. You don't actually have two minds. You have one mind, but it possesses two completely distinct spheres of activity. They have separate functions, totally different attributes, and they operate under entirely different rules. Think of your conscious mind as the captain on the bridge of a ship. It reasons, it observes, and it gives the orders. Your subconscious mind, on the other hand, is the engine room. The folks down there don't know where the ship is going, they just follow the captain's orders. To use another analogy, your conscious mind is the gardener planting seeds, and your subconscious is the soil that will grow absolutely anything you plant in it, whether that's sweet grapes or thorny weeds. And here is a point you have to remember. Your subconscious mind cannot take a joke. It doesn't argue with you. It doesn't analyze whether your thoughts are true or false, good or bad. If you're walking around repeatedly saying, I can't afford that, well, your subconscious simply accepts that as a cold, hard fact, and it creates a reality where you literally cannot afford it. It takes you entirely at your word. Moving on to section 2, the power of suggestion. So, since the subconscious is completely reactive and doesn't reason for itself, we need to understand how ideas actually get planted down there in the first place. The tool that bridges the gap between the conscious and the subconscious is suggestion, and we do this through two main types. First, there's autosuggestion, which is your internal self-talk. Then there's heterosuggestion, which refers to suggestions from others. This is the external programming we receive from the world around us, from our parents, our teachers, the news, society, the whole nine yards. Now, unfortunately, most of us have been completely bombarded with negative heterosuggestions since we were kids. Things like, you can't do it, you'll fail, you're too old. Sound familiar? These are highly relatable for pretty much all of us. But remember our metaphor from earlier? Your conscious mind is the watchman at the gate. Its primary, most important job is to actively reject these negative suggestions before they can sink into that subconscious soil and take root as your reality. Which leads us perfectly into Murphy's core thesis. The law of life is the law of belief. It's not actually the thing you believe in that brings results, but the belief itself functioning as a thought in your mind. To put it simply, all your experiences, your conditions, your very circumstances, they are simply the automatic reactions of your subconscious mind to your everyday, habitual conscious thoughts. Let's turn to section 3, the mechanics of healing. To truly wrap our heads around the immense power of the subconscious, we just have to look at its role in our physical health. The mind-body connection here is incredibly direct and mechanical. Just think about it for a second. When you are sound asleep, what's beating your heart? What's controlling your breathing and digesting your food? Your subconscious mind is a tireless builder operating 24 hours a day.
And what's really vital to realize here is that its tendency is always lifeward. It is constantly moving in a restorative, harmonizing direction, always trying to heal and preserve you. That is, unless your conscious mind interferes with a bunch of fear and anxiety.
The text actually highlights an astonishing medical anecdote to prove this. There was a woman named Madame Boucher who went to the healing shrine at Lourdes. She was completely blind with atrophied optic nerves. Miraculously, she regained her sight. But here's the crazy part. Medical examination showed she was initially seeing with dead eyes before the nerves eventually restored themselves. Murphy argues it wasn't the magical water of the shrine that healed her, it was her absolute unshakable blind belief that triggered her subconscious to recreate the dead nerve tissue. Unbelievable, right? And this brings us to a really beautiful ancient proverb that Murphy quotes. The doctor dresses the wound, and God heals it. Because whether you are sitting in a state-of-the-art modern hospital or standing in an ancient temple, the underlying mechanism is exactly the same. According to the text, there is only one universal healing principle, and that is the subconscious mind responding to faith and confident expectancy. Okay, let's dive into Section 4, Practical Subconscious Techniques. This is where we get into our actionable toolkit. How do we actually step in and intercept our own programming? How do we rewire that watchman at the gate to give better orders to the engine room? Well, first up is the sleep technique. Why sleep? Because when you're in a sleepy, drowsy state, your conscious mind's resistance, that analytical, argumentative part of you, is reduced to a bare minimum. So you condense your desire into a short, positive phrase, something like, I am completely free from this habit, and you repeat it over and over, kind of like a lullaby, as you drift off. You are literally handing the blueprint directly to your subconscious. Next up is the rule of reversal. Murphy says, never finish a negative statement. Reverse it immediately. The text shares this great story of a university student who was looking at a terribly expensive bag in a store window. She almost caught herself saying, I can't afford that. But instead, she stopped, reversed it, and decreed, that bag is mine. I accept it mentally. And get this, hours later, her fiancé gifted her that exact same bag. She gave the engine room a clear, unconflicted order, and it delivered. Then we have the mental movie method. The idea here is that the subconscious will bring to pass any picture held in the mind, as long as it's backed by faith. Murphy himself used this very technique to secure a new speaking venue. He didn't stress out about the how. He just quietly pictured himself speaking to a massive audience, genuinely feeling the thrill and satisfaction of it. By living the role in his mind, he turned his mind into a plastic mold for reality. And sure enough, the venue soon materialized. And finally, we have the thank you technique. This is all about cultivating a mood of absolute gratitude before your desire is objectively realized in the physical world. If you repeat the words thank you with genuine feeling, you lift your mind to the point of pure acceptance. Anticipation and thankfulness actually trick your subconscious into accepting a future goal as a present reality. It basically builds a bridge right to your success. So we come to the end of our explainer with a final provocative thought. As we've learned today, your subconscious is the rich soil, and your conscious thoughts are the seeds. It's on the job 24/7, it never takes a day off, and it takes you exactly at your word. Knowing that your subconscious is listening to you right now, what are you going to tell it?